Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. And if you're someone that's returning, thank you for coming back. This video is going to be about the rising cost of healthcare. So I haven't talked about healthcare in a really long time. I think really the last time I talked about it was with Luigi Maggiani, and I haven't really kept up with him as well as I should have. But that's because not a lot's really happened with him, right? So I can't really talk about him too much. But what I did talk about in a previous video was food stamps. And this is related because if you guys recall, back in October, beginning November, government was shut down, right? And a lot of people were okay with it because, as far as they were concerned, the only people that really had to worry were people with SNAP benefits. And there's a stereotype against them that people with SNAP are lazy, they don't work and get a job and stop having 9 million kids and living off system, blah, 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 whatever. Not going to rehash the whole SNAP thing, but the Democrats were holding out on voting on the budget for the government because of insurance, basically Obamacare. That's the biggest one. They went like the Republicans would not come back and talk about insurance. Democrats on here would say this is a great plan. However, we don't see insurance in here. Where's healthcare at? Can you put healthcare in here? And the Republicans said best we can do is no. That was like the answer for the Republicans, and it's still not in there. So the problem with that is that you were going to see your insurance premiums rise. And we're going to look at some videos of people whose insurance premiums went up. Now, before we get to that, because someone's going to ask me, I will tell you what my premium went up to. And comparatively, it was peanuts compared to some of these things that I'm saying.
I want to play a game called Whose Insurance Premium is going to be Higher? This is the result of the big, beautiful bill in real time. For most people, open enrollment is happening right now, whether it's for their company or through the marketplace. And I got a sneak peek of what my insurance premium will be in 2026 with that big, beautiful bill that passed. My family and I do have a marketplace plan. We have 6 dependents. We both work full-time, but for several reasons, we have a plan through the marketplace. We've had that plan for almost 3 years, I would say. For 6 dependents, family of 8, our premiums are pretty high as is in 2025 at $1,100 a month. That does not include dental and vision. If we stayed on the exact same plan or same coverage type, our insurance premium is projected to go up $1,500. So our premium would then be $2,600. I will also say that we are all generally pretty healthy. We do not have any pre-existing conditions or major medical ailments. That is the highest premium I have heard of. When you hear people talking about our healthcare system is broken, case in point, I'm not going to be paying $2,600 a month in insurance premiums. I'm going to look at different options. That is crazy to me.
$2,600 for insurance should be completely illegal. $2,600 a month. A month is what she's going to pay. That's her premium. If you don't know what a premium is because you're not American, a premium is what you pay out of your paycheck to have your insurance. It's not paying for any medical costs. It's not paying for a procedure or anything like that. It's strictly just to have the insurance. That's it. So she's paying $2,600 a month. So $1,300 a pay period for a family of 6. Or did she say she has 6 dependents? It doesn't matter. I don't care how many kids she has. That's too much for insurance. That's crazy. That's crazy. Did I tell you it's crazy? Because it's crazy. That's over $20,000 a year out of pocket just to have insurance. Keep in mind, before we go to the next video, keep in mind that if you don't know this about our healthcare system, if you're American, you do, because it's probably happened to you. Your insurance can deny your claims. Even after saying that they would pay it, they can come back and say, never mind, change it, don't care. I know we told you this, but that's kind of your fault for believing us. Yes, that's exactly what happens to a lot of people. But this is the next one.
In 2025, this family of 4 in Chatham County, where I grew up, paid $559.69 per month for the lowest cost option. Now look at this. Because of Republicans' cuts to health care last summer, the same family will have to pay $2,131.65 for the lowest cost option. You tell me how an ordinary working family in Georgia is supposed to afford that. Republicans did this. And right now, they won't reopen the government because they're fighting for this.
And again, we are seeing another health insurance plan going from $550 whatever to over $2,000. Guys, this is a mortgage. This isn't even a mortgage payment. My mortgage payment is about $700 cheaper than that insurance plan. And you'll notice something too, if you're not for the states or you don't know a lot about healthcare outside of like employment, getting it through your employer, which is how most Americans get our insurance. How I have mine. We are through my husband's insurance plan. We did not take my company's. His just, it's really unfair how good my husband's insurance plan is. I'm a little bitter as someone that went to school because like one of the things about being a teacher is they tell you that you get good benefits. And then here comes my husband just proving me wrong. Don't tell him I said that. But most of us here in the States, we get our insurance through our employers, right? And so marketplace is for people who are not employed by a company. So, or a district or a hospital, something like that. You usually get some, like a lot of people associate it with unemployment. They also associate it with Section 8 or SNAP or something like that, being on benefits. But it's also for people that might be self-employed. A lot of self-employed people use marketplace as well. So this is what these people are paying just to have insurance, just to have it. I need, like, I'm going to emphasize that a lot of this video. If that gets on your nerves, I don't really care, because I need you to understand this is just to have it. This isn't to use it. It's to have it. That's it.
So just got out of a meeting with one of my marketplace health insurance clients. Their premium's going from about $250 a month in 2025 to over $2,800 in 2026. So as you may already know, marketplace health insurance is seeing some of the biggest rate increases we've seen in years. The reason for that is when the American Rescue Act was passed that sent out all the stimulus checks in 2021, there was a stipulation in there about ACA health insurance to help more people get coverage, get on insurance. But since then, premium increases have risen so much that when they're planning on taking those away, we're going to see dramatic increases in those same health insurance plans. Who's being affected the most when it comes to these subsidy changes is going to be the middle income families. Single individual who makes over $60,000 might get no tax credits. As a household of two, if you make over $84,000, you could get no tax credits and see your premiums go from said $250 to $2,800. So in this case, the couple is an early retiree. They're in full grandparent mode. So they just bought a new bigger car to fit all the grandkids. They're traveling to see the grandkids and just helping out where they can. They're just living their lives. But fortunately right now, with the changes, if they're not extended, their premium is going to be drastically different this next year. Luckily, they'll be on Medicare in 2026, so they don't have to deal with this for the entirety of the year, but a lot of individuals are not going to be in the same boat as them. So if you're in that income range where potentially you're not going to be getting as much tax credits or get no tax credits at all.
And once again, we are seeing an attack on the middle class. And you'll notice a trend through most of my videos. The only people that seem to be affected by anything that's happening are middle class folk. Whether it's the housing crisis where no one can qualify for house, and when you do, the interest rate is sky high, the house is overpriced, you can't make the mortgage payment, then you go into foreclosure. So why'd you do it in the first place? Because you wanted a house, because who wants to live in an apartment the rest of their lives? Plenty of people do, but if you want to start a family, most people want a house with a yard, right? You also have health insurance, which we are talking about today. People can't afford it because it's going up and it's now like a second mortgage payment. Your insurance can still deny your claim. And even if they do cover something, they're not going to cover all of it. I can tell you my child, my first birth with my first kid, I have two, was under my insurance when I was a teacher. And I think her bill, I might have said it in the preview, but I think I was off a little bit. But her bill was about $40,000. I paid $4,600, I think, like $4,600. I don't exactly remember because I got a refund on a lot of stuff too. But I think the initial bill out of pocket to me was $4,600. So we're gonna stick with that. That's not what I technically paid, but we're gonna stick with that. My son, under my husband's insurance, which you will see, you'll see in a second why I'm so bitter about it. My son last year, he'll be a year old in a couple weeks. I paid $1,200 out of pocket, and the bill was the same. And I had him in a more expensive hospital too, by the way, because my doctor with my daughter went to California. And I was mad about that because I really liked him. I was really irritated when I found out he wasn't there. I was like, no, I like you. You were good at what you did. But my second hospital was great too. I loved my doctor there. Yeah, big difference. And all my stuff was covered. I found out actually online, like Reddit is a really good source to commiserate with people. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a good source of information for like statistics or anything like that, because the internet will internet. But when you want to talk to people that have similar experiences as you, Reddit's a really good place to go to. And there were some women on some subreddits I was on, sorry, who we were talking about things that are covered and what's not covered. Like, did you know that genetic testing is not typically covered by insurance? I didn't know that. I had no idea. I didn't do it. But if you're planning to have a child, you need to ask your insurance and ask your provider, is this typically covered by insurance? They won't tell you. And to be honest with you, you need to ask your insurance company, because your provider can say yeah, but your insurance company can change whatever they want and not tell you. Like, our dental is kind of like that. Our dental has specifically told me when I was looking for a dentist for my daughter to get her teeth looked at for the first time, they told me you need to check back before you go in, because we drop dentists daily and we don't tell people. That was Aetna, by the way. If you'd like to know who that is, AETNA, that's them. Thanks for that. So you have your health insurance affecting the middle class. Doesn't affect the bigwigs because they have the money to pay for stuff. Affects the middle class. The job market is horrible. Again, doesn't affect the bigwigs because they own the companies. So as long as they're running their business and making money, they're good. Now, a lot of businesses do have skeezy practices. Some of them have very honest practices. Like, for example, the company I work for, I think they are great people. They are great employers. They're very transparent. They keep us very informed. And I think the people I work with are very pleasant. I do. But you can even have a company that's exactly like I described my employer is, and they get affected by things like inflation, people not buying their products. Their marketing isn't selling very well the products that they have or the services that they have. And so they have to make unfortunate decisions like layoffs. And that affects middle class people because they're the ones being laid off. So then you're in a job market where no one's hiring because everyone's too busy laying people off. How are you supposed to be able to afford anything and no one's hiring? I made a video about this like almost a year ago. I think like 9 months ago, actually, about this very issue, about that very, very, very same issue. So a lot of the things that are happening right now is targeting the middle class, even education. I made a video about that. I don't know if it'll be posted before this video or after, but I am going to post it. But education, they're taking away degrees that are now not going to be considered professional degrees. And what that means is that you can't take out loans to even go to college to finish your degree. But the problem with that is people say that, well, you don't need to take out $200,000 to be a teacher or nurse, which is facts. I agree for the most part, but the issue isn't how many loans people are taking out. The issue is the interest rate that's eating into people's finances, and then their salaries, once they get higher in the fields, are not keeping up. My starting salary as a teacher in 2013 was about $33,000. Since then, I believe it's only gone up about $10,000 or $12,000 on average where I live for a first year teacher. That's crazy. That's crazy for a first year teacher to be making like, I think the last district I was at, I want to say it was like $50,000 where the starting salary was. Might have been a couple thousand more than that. But when you live in an economy where your rent is $2,000, your weekly food budget is like another $150, you got health insurance premiums like this, $55,000 really isn't a lot of money now, is it? No. So this really is attacking the middle class. You are seeing the middle class being dissolved right now. They're doing it to the extent to include our health care in order to do it. So I did tell you at the beginning of this video, I would tell you what my premium went up to. I'm not going to give you the exact number, but my premium only went up $37, which to me was a lot. I have never seen an increase like that. So why is our insurance going on like this? Crazy word. But then I see what Marketplace is doing and no longer really complaining over here on this side of the insurance field. You know what I mean? But then I see what people are paying, even that are employed by a company. I know somebody, I won't reveal who this person is, but they told me that their insurance is going up, like they pay like $400 or $500 a pay period for their insurance, and their costs didn't technically go up. I had no idea that they even pay that much to begin with. Now they make a lot of money, but not enough to justify $1,000 a month. They can absolutely survive off of it, but it really puts it into perspective when you look at jobs and you're trying to to find a place to work, you're looking at your healthcare, you're looking at your housing. You really got to start being more fiscally responsible and financially literate before you just start taking out loans and start going to the hospital, start going to the doctor and things like that, which is horrible. You should be able to just go to the doctor because you're sick, but now people probably won't be able to go because they can't even afford the insurance. It's not even that they can't afford the bill afterwards. The bill afterwards, a lot of times, hospitals, doctors, these places that you get treated at, they'll work with you and put you on some type of payment plan for the most part. Or I know I've heard of cases where people actually call and get like an itemized billing, and they use that to talk to the insurance about what needs to be paid and what needs to be covered. But when it's the fact that you just can't afford your health insurance, that has nothing to do with the hospital or the doctors or the nurses or anything like that. That has everything to do with greed. It has to do with greed. It has to do, and these companies still reserve the right to not cover you. You could pay $2,100, like one of those videos, $2,100 a month, not pay period, but like a month, not a year, a month for health insurance. Go to the hospital, have a child, like I did, come back, hand your insurance the bill, and then your insurance says, well, we're not covering half of that. You still owe $15,000. But don't forget to pay that $2,100 a month premium. Does anyone besides me see the problem? But you guys tell me what you think. I have a feeling I know what you think, but I love reading comments. I don't really get a lot of comments, and I love reading them. I would like to actually read some of them in my next video. So leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video.